Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be going over my experience with the second quest of the newest piece of endgame content, the Wheel of Fate. As you can see, I've already completed all 3 quests. I hope to soon release a video going over my third quest experience. I actually found the third quest to be easier than the other 2, but I'll talk about that in the next video. At the end of the video too will be my opening for the second quest, the crystals that I got from those rewards, so stay tuned for that as well. If you're new around here, make sure you subscribe for more content and like the video if you enjoy. So getting right into things, I found the second quest of the Wheel of Fate to be the most difficult, for me at least. I think I've heard that for a lot of others it was also the most difficult, just because a lot of the fights were very restrictive. Here in a second I'm going to go through and show each of the fights and which champions I used. It has been about a week since I did this quest. I've just been busy the last week and haven't had time to record it. I still wanted to get this video out though, so that's why we're doing this here now. I don't recall exactly how many revives I used for this second quest. As we go back through the photos of each of the fights, I might remember, but I apologize if I don't recall exactly. So for the first fight, I used Wong, who took the fight on pretty well. I had to use Wong because I don't have a Void on my account, but Wong does this fight very well. It is a bit of a slow fight. You can see this took me 13.5 minutes. You just have to build up and maintain all of Wong's spells, and you can get through this fight pretty safely, as long as you know how to evade Gore's special too. This fight isn't an issue. For the second fight with the Dazzler, I used Stark in Hand Spider-Man. This fight was pretty easy from what I remember. It was a solo, and it just took a bit of time to build up his charges, and then the fight was over pretty quickly. You can see it didn't even take me 4 minutes to get down this Dazzler. For the third fight against Lady Deathstrike, I brought in Medusa. This fight was pretty easy with Medusa. I was never really in danger. It was a bit of a longer fight because you did have to manage all of your damage through special attacks. So this fight took me just under 7 minutes, and this was a solo as well. On to Enchantress. This fight, I believe, took me 2 revives. All the runs went pretty well, but here, I think I used 2 revives. If we take a look, oh yeah, well, just going back. So this was the first fight. It took about 3 minutes. I was almost able to get her down to half health. Then the next fight took about 2 minutes. I was able to get her almost all the way down. I think I got clipped by a special or something, but I lost that one. But then I went right back in with another revive, and with 6% health left, I was able to take her out. So it was just 2 revives for that one. Not too bad. I'm happy with that. Onto the Thor Ragnarok fight. This fight was almost a solo, using Cyclops Blue Team, who I have at rank 2. I was almost able to get him all the way down, but Cyclops does this fight very well. If you have him at rank 3, I think I've seen a couple of clips where going with the special 3 rotation, followed by special 2s and special 1s, you can completely deplete his health with 1 rotation. So Cyclops is a great option for this fight if you have him. I died once, but then the next fight I went right back in and was able to take him out. So just 1 revive for Thor Ragnarok. For Arcade, I brought in Serpent, and this fight was a solo, pretty easy with Serpent. If you know how to fight Arcade, which I now do thanks to this content, he really isn't too big of a problem. You can honestly use just about anyone for Arcade. Serpent was a great option here because I didn't need to use him in any other fights, and I have him at rank 4, so this was a pretty easy fight. This fight was solo. It took me about 6.5 minutes to get Arcade down. Moving on to the leader, I used my Bullseye, who is also at rank 4. This was a solo, very easy to manage your health. Even though you're getting degenerated if you move away from the leader, just stick close to him, and you can really use just about anyone for this fight as well. Onto the Bullseye, I forgot to take the clip at the end of the fight, so I took a snapshot of the fight area here so you can see. So my first fight didn't go too bad. I was still learning how to use Dazzler against Bullseye, but I found the fight to be pretty manageable. I was able to evade Bullseye's special 1, parts of the special, I think like the first hit and the last hit, but then I had to block the rest of the hits, but it wasn't too bad. I went back in with another revive, and I was able to get him down to almost 25%, or it looks about like 33%, about a third of his health left. That fight went a lot better. I was getting that down pretty easily. And then with 1 more revive, I was able to get Bullseye down, still with a decent bit of health left. This was a lot better than I thought it would be. I was worried that I would have to use, upwards of like 10 revives against this Bullseye, just because I didn't have any other good options. But Dazzler was perfect for me. I was able to get Bullseye down with 2 revives here. Moving on to the Human Torch. Here I died pretty quick with Deathless She-Hulk. I forgot to manage, I think it was his energy damage or the node that when you use a heavy attack, you then deal energy damage. And I think I just got depleted because of that, from what I remember. So this was my first attempt. I went back in. I also lost again. I don't remember the reason exactly why. I think maybe I just took too much damage and lost there. But then went back in with a second revive and was able to get Human Torch down pretty easily there. And still end with some health. So Human Torch wasn't too difficult. You just have to manage when you knock him down with a heavy attack that you re-knock him down so that your attacks aren't dealing energy damage. Onto the Serpent fight, I used America Chavez for this. My first run went pretty well. I was able to get him down to just below half health. I think I just ended up taking too much block damage from the special attacks, and that's why I died, from what I remember. Or I may have pushed him to a special 3. Don't recall exactly, but that was the first fight. I went back in. I didn't do as well the second time. I don't remember how I died, but I was able to do about another 20 to 25% health there. And then I went back in with a second revive and was able to get him down. So this fight wasn't too difficult. The end of the fight was pretty easy as well because I had multiple of her first spells up. The dimensional one, I think it is, where it reverses their power gain. So once he hit his immortality phase, he wasn't gaining any power. So that was easy to finish the fight off with 2 revives. For the Spiral, I forgot to take the first screenshot, but I was able to get her down to almost half health with Domino. I didn't really have like a super solid counter for this fight, so I just brought in Domino. I have her at rank 3, and she did decently well. After I used 1 revive, I was able to get her down to about 17% health. Took too much damage, I guess. I don't recall exactly, and I apologize for that. But then I went back in with a second revive and was able to get her down there in just almost a minute and a half to finish that fight off. So just 2 revives for this fight, not too bad. And then on to the final fight before the boss against Dust, I brought in NTW. The first fight didn't go too well. I was still learning how to manage both NTW's Incinerates and Dust's abilities, especially with those armor ups, to make sure that I was able to survive through the fight. First fight didn't go too well, but I went back in with a revive and was able to finish the fight out. So just using 1 revive, I was able to get her down. You can see I had 215 hits for this fight, almost 5.5 minutes. So it wasn't too bad. I just messed up that first time. So 1 revive getting this Dust down, I'm happy with that. I know Dust is very difficult for many, especially if you don't have a good phone. That frame rate can drop and cause issues for the fight. So I'm happy with just using the 1 revive. And then on to Deathless Thanos. So this is probably why this quest was the hardest for me. I did not have a good counter for Deathless Thanos. All of the champions that I could use were at rank 1, and I didn't want to rank anyone up to bring into this fight. So I brought in Gamora just because she's able to ramp up some of her damage and hit pretty hard. This first fight wasn't great. I lost at 8% health, but I was learning how to manage both Gamora's buffs using the heavy attack and making sure that I alternated between light and medium attacks to keep the weakness debuffs off of me. I don't remember how many revives it took me to get this down. I want to say probably 6 or 7. Sounds about right from what I remember. So I was able to get him almost down closer to the end. You can see this was a 3-minute fight, almost 100 hits. And I got him down to 1 HP and then I died. But then I went right back in and was able to take out Deathless Thanos. So yeah, I think that one took me about 6 or 7 revives. All in all, it wasn't really too bad of a quest for me. I say it was the hardest, but even then, I still really enjoyed it. It was also made a bit easier because I'd already done the full quest once. I just had to bring in different champions. So I think in total, most of my fights, if they weren't a solo, I used either 1 or 2 revives, which I'm very happy about. And then counting on like 6 or 7 revives for Deathless Thanos at the end, I probably used anywhere between 15 to 18 revives, somewhere around that ballpark. So I'm not too mad about that. I already had revives saved up, so I didn't have to dip into units or free crystals for any of that content. Looking at the rewards that I got for completing this quest very briefly before we go to the opening. So I was able to get a 7-star Nexus Crystal, a Titan Crystal, and I think I might have opened another 7-star Crystal. I don't recall exactly, but you'll see here in the opening what I pull. Alrighty, time to open some crystals. So let's see what we have here. So we have 1 7-star Nexus Crystal that I know of. Okay, so then we're going to have a few, so I guess 2 7-star Hero Crystals, the 1 7-star Nexus Hero Crystal, and then a Titan Crystal to open. So let's go ahead and start with the 7-star crystals. Load up both of these. Who I'm looking for most. Enchantress would probably be one of my top pulls because then I wouldn't have to take her from the selector from the third quest. That would be nice. Nefaria would also be great. Dupes on Dust, Juggernaut, Shuri. There's a lot of dupes that I'm after. Some other new champions too that aren't coming to mind, but let's see what we get from this first crystal. We are pulling a Nova. Okay, I mean, he's already awakened. I just took him to rank 2, so we'll take some SIGs on him. You know, he likes to have a high SIG ability. There we go. You know, not a new champion or not a dupe I was after, but I'm okay with that. Pretty happy with that pull. You know, if I'm going to get SIGs on someone, I want it to at least be on someone that's useful and wants the SIG levels. Alright, crystal number 2. Let's see what we pull. We are getting a... yeah, more SIGs on Terrax. I don't remember his SIG ability off the top of my head, so I don't know if he needs the SIGs, but he's at least rank 3, so hey, we'll take the SIGs. Better on him than on a rank 1 that I'm never going to take up. Alright, we got a 7-star Nexus. No, I always get my hopes up for these, but I'm not going to. We're going to get 3 champions that are all already awakened, who I don't need. Ooh, interesting. I didn't get 3 dupe champions, obviously. I want to say I'm going to go for Diablo here. Spider-Punk would be fun, but I feel like Diablo is just more useful for my account at this point. So we're going to go with the Diablo Awakening. Not too bad there. I'm happy with that. Let's see if we can get something from this Titan. So spoilers in a few seconds here about the most recent Titan pulls of mine. We got 3, 2, 1. Okay. The last opening I pulled Bastion, which is awesome. I wouldn't mind duping him. From my first Titan opening of this pool, I got both Jean Grey and Spider-Woman. Wouldn't mind awakening them. Yeah, those are the only other 2 that I need awakening from champions that I've pulled. New champions that I'm after, top 2, Okoye and Yelena. If I can get one of them, ooh, that's what I'm hoping for. This will be crystal number 7 of the new pool. We've yet to pull Okoye or Yelena, so let's see one of them here. I don't want anyone else, just one of those 2. Oh, I'll take Gallon. Oh, man, my luck with Titans recently has been pretty good. I'm very happy with Gallon. I forgot to mention him. You know, he's one of my top wants. Here I have somewhere the 6-star maxed out. I love Gallon. He's an amazing champion. But now that I have him as the 7-star, definitely going to take him up. I'd say, you know, for this opening, the first 3 crystals could have done without them, but I'm very happy with the Gallon. He was definitely someone that I was after, but he just slipped my mind for a second. Still no Okoye and still no Yelena, but I'm not giving up hope. That's going to do it for this video. Thank you so much for checking it out. I appreciate you for being here. Again, if you're new around here and would like to see more Marvel Contest of Champions content, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so that you receive a notification when my videos are uploaded. Let me know as well if you would like to see me create a guide for all of the Wheel of Fate quests, what champions I recommend, and the most simple way to explain each of the fights so that you know how to complete them. That'll do it for today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a fantastic week, and I will catch you later.